Hey guys, here's chapter 1. Are we ready then? Charles rummaged through his backpack, trying to find the navy blue folder. Was sure he had put it in somewhere, but where was it? Mr. Peterson! The booming voice thundered even more loudly. Are we ready? Where was it? There it was. Charles pulled out the folder. Hello? Charles Peterson. I'm talking to you. Charles felt his cheeks growing hot. A sure sign that he was blushing. Knowing that his cheeks were very pink made him feel even more self-conscious, which only made his cheeks pinker. Yes, Mr. Green, I'm here, and I have my script. He waved the folder in the air, and a bunch of papers fell out of it. They fluttered to the floor, creating a snowdrift around his feet. Oh! He squatted down to scoop up the papers, juggling the folder as he tried to grab as many sheets as he could. The girl standing next to him bent down to help. The man in front of the room, Mr. Green, sighed loudly and rolled his eyes. Okay, people, he said. This was exactly the kind of thing I was talking about. We're actors, but we're really more like a sports team. To do well, we have to depend on one another, and everyone has to do their best. This play is gonna be wonderful. But if only every single one of us works hard, we don't have much time left before the opening night. So we need to come prepared and ready to work together. And by now, we shouldn't need to have our scripts ready anymore. We should all have our parts memorized. Does everybody understand? He folded his arms, waiting. Charles closed his eyes. How he had gotten himself into this? He hadn't. That's how. His mom had gotten him into it. I signed you up for something really special, she told him one day after school, a few weeks later. Remember that one time I interviewed Mary Thompson about a play she was writing for the history of Littleton? I guess, Charles said. His mom was a reporter for the local paper, the Littleton News, and she had interviewed just about everybody in town, including Mary Thompson, who was a famous writer. She was the author of one of Charles' favorite picture books ever, So Many Puppies. Well, she finished the play, and now the Littleton players are gonna put it on. Mom said it will be part of the big birthday celebration for our town, and there are some parts for kids in it. So I signed you up for auditions and thought you would like to try out for a role. Charles stared up at his mom. You did? Why? An actor was about the last thing Charles wanted to be. I don't even like to give oral reports at school, he reminded her. Mom nodded. Exactly. Being in the play will give you so much self-confidence. You know, I was shy too when I was your age. Did my best friend convince me to be in the Christmas pageant one year? We were both angels, and we had so much fun. Somehow after that, I was less shy. She smiled encouragingly at Charles. I am not that shy, Charles said. It's just there are lots of other things I would rather do. He looked down at the puppy by his side. Like play with Buddy. Buddy glanced up at Charles and thumped his tail the way he did when he always heard the word play. His ears perked up hopefully. Buddy was the best friend Charles had ever had. He was a little brown and white puppy with a huge personality. Buddy came to stay with the Petersons as a foster puppy. Charles' family took care of puppies who needed homes. But most of the puppies were only with them for a short time, but Buddy never left. Everyone had fallen in love with him. Mom, Dad, Lizzie, Charles' older sister, Charles, and the Bean, who was their younger brother, all adored Buddy. He was a part of the Peterson family now. You still had plenty of time with Buddy, said Mom. By the way she knew it, Charles was good, knew her mind was made up. He was trying out for that play whenever he liked it or not. The next Saturday, Mom drove Charles to the town hall, a big brick building that housed offices, the theater, and a meeting room. You'll have fun, honey, she said as they walked up the stairs down to the theater where their auditions were being held. She was wrong. Charles did not have fun at all. For one thing, nobody told him that the play was a musical, meaning that the part of his tryout he would have to sing by himself in front of everybody. When he found out, Charles closed his eyes. He wished for all his might for the auditions to be over, but it didn't work, as dozens of grown-ups, kids belted out songs they had prepared. Some were good singers, others not so great. But one by one, they all got up on that small stage in the front of the room and did their stuff. They smiled at Mr. Green, the director, and at Mrs. Davis, the school music director. Charles could really tell that these people really, really wanted to be in the play. Some of them even added little dance steps into their routine. When it was Charles' turn, he could not think of a single song. He stood on stage, his cheeks getting hotter by the second. Finally, it was now. The worms crawling, the worms crawl out, he sang. The worms play Pinocchio on your snout. Somebody giggled. Somebody else snorted. A moment later, everybody in the whole room was laughing at Charles. Even Mr. Green laughed. A booming laugh that was big as his boys. Fantastic, he bellowed. Well, he called the very next day to tell Charles how he had gotten a part in the play. You'll be playing Jasper, the youngest son in one of the families, he said. You're perfect for the role. And Miss Davis said she thought your singing was charming. She can't wait to work with you. Now at rehearsal, Mr. Green stood still waiting, with his arms folded. Does everybody understand? He asked again. Charles tucked the last piece of paper into his folder. Yes! He shouted along with everybody else, but he didn't. After 2 weeks of rehearsals, he still didn't understand how this could be happening to him. He couldn't memorize his lines or learn the songs they had to sing. He felt self-conscious whenever he was on stage, and he didn't know what to do with his hands. Mr. Green wasn't mean, but he had very high expectations, and that made Charles nervous. At least Mrs. Davis was nice. She was always smiling and laughing and telling stories about when she used to be on Broadway. Where was she anyways? Charles looked on to the piano, at the piano that sat just below the stage off to one side. The piano bench, Mrs. Davis's usual perch, was empty. He noticed Mr. Green checking his watch and looking at the door. He must be wondering too. A few minutes later, as Mr. Green was reviewing the rehearsal door, Mrs. Davis flew in through the door, breathing hard. Sorry I'm late, she said. It's this one's fault. She pointed to the floor down her feet. Charles craned his neck. What he immediately saw made him feel a whole lot better. It was a puppy!